Welcome to the evolution of a genre, a brief overview of horror in cinema. Over the years, the horror genre has evolved into a unique supergenre compiled of a vast sea of subgenres, giving us several styles of horror classics that have withstood the test of time. Gothic literary greats such as Edgar Allan Poe, Bram Stoker, and Mary Shelley have heavily influenced the film genre of horror. However, it was the films of Edison and the Lumiere brothers that began to codify the genre. The pioneers of the horror genre embarked on a psychological quest that has evolved into an artistic science. In 1896, George Méliès took the horror genre to new heights with several films that began to truly define the horror genre. Our first glimpse of psychological horror is seen in Georges Méliès' A Nightmare. Later, we see the shapings of religious and supernatural horror in Méliès' The Devil in a Convent.
Codifying stage.
The 1920s and 30s were heavily influenced by German Expressionism. The influence of German Expressionism flooded the US due to the near collapse of the UFA in 1925. The impact of German Expressionism was crucial. The German Expressionism era birthed hybrid genres outside of the horror genre, such as film noir. For the horror genre, the evolution blew life into the genre, taking us deeper into the psychological journey that the horror genre would soon immerse us in.
Cliche. Stage.
During the 1940s, the horror genre began to fall into cliché, with failed attempts at sequels such as The Invisible Man Returns and Frankenstein Meets the Wolf Man. The genre began to cheapen the effectiveness of monsters in horror cinema.
Wait a minute. The nation's top comics, Abbott and Costello. Petrified, but hilariously.
The comedic horror parody nearly cannibalized the genre in one bite. By the 1950s, the horror genre had settled on making quantity over quality. At this point, it was sink or swim for the horror genre. B-horror films and the beginnings of sci-fi horror subgenres began to emerge. When the 1960s arrived, Alfred Hitchcock emerged on scene with his game-changing suspense thrillers. As we can see, the horror genre is a genre that continues to evolve and adapt. As we fast forward through the 1970s and the 1980s, teen slasher flicks, and body horror, we see the very self-aware 90s.
Popcorn.
You making popcorn?
Well, I'm getting ready to watch a video.
Really? What?
Oh, just some scary movie.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
You never told me your name.
Why do you want to know my name?
So I want to know who I'm looking at.
Horror cinema had ventured into a self-aware stage, with films like Scream and Wes Craven's A New Nightmare. The horror genre would idle momentarily on self-aware films until the emergence of a new genre.
Something's here. I feel it breathing on me.
There's footsteps in, but there's no footsteps out.
The found footage genre. The found footage genre took off due to films such as The Blair Witch Project and VHS.
Hello? Holy shit.
Through our journey, we can clearly see that the genre of horror is an infinite genre that continues to evolve. This has been a brief overview of horror in cinema.
My apartment's haunted.
It's not haunted.